Wait. What?
Welcome to I Believe. I'm your host, Chad Ostrowski.
And my name's Miho Kahn.
All right, welcome, Miho Kahn. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm an artist, and I'm a mother and a wife. And I am an avid gardener. And I guess more than anything, I feel like I'm an artist.
All right, so what God do you believe in?
I am a Christian. I try to follow the teachings of Christ. Yeah, and I believe that he is real and alive in everything he said he was. Yeah, I think that.
Okay, so why do you believe?
Well, just to give you a little background, neither of my parents were religious. My father was Jewish, but he didn't practice Judaism. And, well, we went to our friend's bar mitzvahs. I don't know if that counts, though. But I think he thought we should do something when I was born. He thought we should do some kind of religious activity. So he joined the Unitarian Church, but was very proud of the fact that we never went. So we had no, yeah, he really did brag about that. So he had no religious background, and my mother was Japanese, so she had a Shinto influence, but viewed religion as something for the uneducated or the weak.
Interesting.
Yeah, just very dismissive of any kind of religious leanings at all.
And your father was proud of the fact that y'all joined a Unitarian church, but never even went.
That's right.
And a Unitarian church at that, like.
Right. Exactly. But I do remember there being very nice people there, and there was always things to sign that were very socially aware. That was kind of cool.
So you went.
The seals and, hug a lesbian, that sort of thing.
What was the first one?
Save the seals.
Save the seals, hug a lesbian.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my father's creed was be a good person and don't worry about dying. But there was never any talk of God or prayer or faith in our home. Except that I remembered something that I thought was very interesting. My mother came to me one day and she said, "Do you know that Daddy, he pray every night?" And I was like, "He does? Who does he pray to?" And she was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, what does he say?" And she folded her hands and she closed her eyes really tight and she said, "Please, so we can be happy and healthy." Every night. Isn't that nice he says that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
I forgot he said that she told me that.
How old were you when she told you that?
I was pretty young. And I was fascinated by that.
Yeah, especially coming from someone who bragged about never even going to the Unitarian Church.
Yes. And I checked in later years and asked that question again. She said, every night.
Which indicates it struck her as kind of strange.
I think she thought it was very nice.
Oh, okay.
I think she thought it was a very nice thing for him to do. But having said that, my family was, I viewed them as quite superficial. Definitely the emphasis in our family was looks and performance. And I was looking for something deeper. And I thought I could find that through drugs. So back in the day, I dropped a lot of acid and smoked a lot of weed because it was the 70s. And I was reading stuff like Ram Dass and Khalil Gibran and Carlos Castanedas. So that's all real spiritual type of stuff. I was reading tarot cards. I got really proficient at that. So when I think about that, I realize I was what one would call a seeker. I was looking for deeper meaning. And I was looking for those experiences to answer some of those questions. But in the meantime, I was also a person who would say, "Oh, the Bible's full of contradictions," and which I think is hilarious because I'd never read the Bible. I didn't know one line of the Bible, but
I
I
was
had.
going to ask where you got
No,
that idea.
I don't know. I heard it somewhere, and I grabbed a hold of it, and I thought it was true. I had nothing whatsoever to base that on, though. It must have been a comment in passing that I picked up. It wasn't from my parents. They were respectful of the Bible. They were like, yes, it has very good advice. But I don't.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not my mother. She wouldn't have said that. But my father, I do remember him saying that.
So those were your first forays into the spiritual, maybe, where your drug experiences and reading those philosophers.
And I would say my first real religious experience was when I saw the Rocky Mountains. I had been hitchhiking around the United States, and when I saw the Rocky Mountains, there was something about, well, there was everything about it that just brought me to my knees. And the thought that I had was, it's finished. And I meant there's no wondering for me anymore. There's definitely a God. There's definitely a creator. And that was a very defining moment for me. And after that, I continued to hitchhike. And when I went through the Mojave Desert, I was picked up by someone and I was raped. And I had gotten through the Mojave Desert and was in California, in Southern California. So I was on the beach kind of wondering what I was going to do next because I didn't want to hitchhike anymore. And I kept on meeting Christians. I kept on trying to find people to party with, and I kept on finding Christians. And they were very kind and very gentle and very soulful people. They were lovely. And I hung around them because I felt safe around them. And at a certain point, one of them brought me to a place called the Self-Realization Fellowship of Santa Monica. And it was a New Age place, which made me very comfortable because even though these Christians were very kind and nice, I didn't want to be a Christian. So I wasn't embracing what they were sharing. I was listening, but I wasn't really, signing on. And when I was in this place, I was very comfortable because they had people meditating and, it was the scene that I was more familiar and more comfortable with. And there was a beautiful, open, natural setting with a pond. And the pond had different quotes from different world religions on placards. And I was walking around this pond and looking at the different placards and reading all the different quotes. And the one that was dedicated to Christianity said, "Be still and know that I am God." And that was my next defining moment. I realized I didn't know what it meant to be still, so I just got really quiet and I meditated in that spot. In stillness, I just really got quiet. And I experienced what I still say today was the voice of God inside of my head, a voice that said, "It's true, I am God." And I had a very strong sense that it was Jesus Christ. And I realize that what I'm saying is it's hard to capture this because it's all images or voices in my head, but it was a very undeniable and very clear moment. And what was funny about the moment was my fighting it because I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be a Christian, so this is a problem. And and just this pressing on the inside of me that was like, it's true. It's just true. You might not want it, but it's true. And I thought, well then, all right, I'm in. If it's that true, then I'm in. And that was what I would say was the moment that I became a Christian, when I said, yes, I believe. I believe in this. And then it was, and still is, a long journey of figuring out that belief and how to walk in it. But something that was almost as miraculous to me as that was how the more I learned about it and the more I studied, as I started to look at God's word, which was the Bible, the truer it became to me. It was not as I expected, finding contradictions and problems and situations that I didn't want to embrace. It was more a fascination and a delight in how wonderful this book was, and how just in every way, historically, and it just became truer and truer. And that was such a surprise to me. So when I come to your question, why do I believe? It's because of my initial experience that has stayed with me, but also this wonderful thrill of the more I study it, the more I walk it, the more I walk in it, the truer it becomes.